Hi to all the quality engineers out there. So welcome back to QA Pro. Hope you get a chance to go through LambdaTest and how was it? How was your experience with LambdaTest? I hope you got a chance to do some testing or some compatibility testing on multiple devices, multiple combinations. And also, if you can remember our last video, where we faced a couple of issues there. One was related to the GitHub, if you can remember, related to the GitHub integration. For that, I had received an email from LambdaTest. The issue was actually because like our GitHub account was a personal account. So we can only connect a organization with this LambdaTest integration. So that's why it was failed. For that, you can go to the your organizations here, and here you can create a new organization, and then you can proceed with the integration with LambdaTest. So that you can solve like that. So that was the actual issue there. Then the next issue we faced was, if you can remember, we couldn't test on a real device because that was not included in my account. So that I was able to solve after talking with the LambdaTest team. So they included real devices to my account. So now today first I will start with showing the real device part, since we couldn't see that last week. After that, as I promised, I will walk you through the automation part. Okay, so here again the real time and the real device. We saw what real time is and how you can use the real time. Then today, real device, let's see quickly. Under real device, we will see two parts, app testing and browser testing. So the real device is only for the mobile. But if you see on the real time, you will see web browser and app, there were two. That where you could see it on the machine, the computers like Windows, Mac as well. But for real device, we have only mobiles. So yeah, on the real device, I will go to browser. Then here the same, you can select the. Okay, I will skip this. So here you can first select the operating system, whether it's Android or iOS. I will go with iOS, Safari. Then you can select iPhone or iPad. I will go with iPhone. Here still for the real devices, iPhone 16 is not available, but you saw for the real time it was there. Then here you can select the particular iOS version. Let's say iPhone 15 Pro. Then since this is the browser testing, here you need to paste the URL. Similar, LambdaTest.com, and then you can start your session. So here you can see it says sync in with real device cloud. Last time, if you can remember, here it was virtual, but now we are connecting to a real device. So initial in the device, then launch in the browser, and okay. So we will get the browser open, and here also you can see same iPhone 15 Pro, then the iOS version, iOS 17, and the Google Chrome browser. Then here there will be the same options, the same features as last time on the real time. So you can take screenshot, you can do recording, then you can mark as a bug, then the gallery where the videos will be saved. Then you can change the IP geolocation, GPS location, and also you can play with network throttling. Then device controls. Same, you can play with the volume and you can rotate the device. Then under settings, idle, timeout, time zone, language, those things are there. And you can switch the device. Here, the combinations you can change. And here you can see where you can zoom it. Here the zoom means like the UI what you see, not inside the phone, but this particular window. And then you can go to Chrome DevTools and then the Safari Web Inspector, those things I showed you last week. And then here the test manager part, which is a separate feature. So yeah, so that is about the real devices. That's why I mentioned, like, from here you can't differentiate between real time and real device because the UI will be pretty similar. The same features available for both real time and real devices. But the difference is actually on the back end. On the real time we connect to a virtual cloud, but here on the real devices we are connecting to a real actual physical device. So that's the main difference. But yeah, so for your testing, you can choose between either options. So I will end the session. And yeah, that was about the missing part from last video. And then for today's video, we have the automation part. So when you come to automation, so here on the left panel, you can see the option called the automation. Then you see web automation and the app automation. So I will go with the web automation here. And then when you come to the automation, you will see the builds. So these are like all the previous builds, the runs which I have done, those information. And here it shows how many parallel executions you can do. For my free account, I can do only 2 parallel executions. So when one test is running, it will show as 1 out of 2. Then how many sessions are queued. Like for example, if you run 50 test cases, since we can run only 2 parallel tests, so here it will be 2, then 48 will be queued. Likewise, you can have a queue of 150 test cases. Then if you want to create a tunnel when the test is running, if you want to connect to it, maybe for debugging purposes or anything, so then you can configure a tunnel. Here you will see the options, how you can connect to the tunnel using your username, and they will provide a key. So using those, you can connect to the tunnel. And also there is a desktop application you can download or launch and then connect via that as well. Then there are some options related to the analytics. So if you go inside the analytics, it will come to this LambdaTest dashboard. These things I will talk later. These are like some other extra features on LambdaTest. The dashboard part where you can configure different component to show different statistics based on all the test runs which are on this particular LambdaTest platform. Then you can get the access key. So I will show you when you run when you configure your automation. Normally when you create your test cases and you run it, the browser will open in your local. But here what we will do is like we will run the test on our side, but the browser will be launched on the LambdaTest side. So in that case, you have an idea. I think we need to create a connection between our local and the LambdaTest, where when we send these calls, then there should be a connection. So for this particular connection, we need to authenticate ourselves. So that's why we have this username, access key, and this particular hub information. So you need these things to configure your test cases. So this is where you can get this information. And then the announcements, yeah, that's the default UI parts are here. Then, yeah, so those are the first. I just wanted to walk you through the UI. Then here you can do filtering based on the build name or the build ID. And then also you can sort and filter using some other information like the date, project, the user, and those information. And these are the builds, as I mentioned. So a build means a build will hold multiple test cases. So I will show you when creating the test cases, how you can configure the build and the test. So for example, let's say this is kind of a daily build. Let's say we have configured our CI/CD pipelines to run the regression tests daily at night. So this will be our daily build. So if you go inside the build, you can find out the test cases, the actual test runs, the test executions. So if you check on the build, you can see here it shows like how many test cases were inside the build. So here in this case, there are 2 tests in this particular build, and it took 15 seconds, and the time when it was ran, and the status, and the user, and what is the framework. Here we have used Selenium for this particular build, and then here also it shows the status. And if you go inside, you can edit, share this build with someone. You can set expiry duration, and then if you want email or to share with your team, yeah, that option is there. And also if you don't need these builds anymore, you can delete it as well. Okay, so let's go inside a build. And here if you come inside the build, now these are the 2 test cases which were inside the particular build. So if you select one of these test cases, now you can see the status of this particular test, then the name, then it has the time taken for this particular test, like 8 seconds. Then these are the combinations which I have run. So I have run this on Microsoft Edge version 87, the Mac OS 10.12, and on this screen resolution, a Selenium test case, and that there was no tunnel configured, and at what time and which user, and then here you can copy the test ID to a clipboard, and also from this particular, since now let's say this has failed because here in this particular step this particular element was not found. So in that case, if it is a bug, actual bug, then you can directly create an issue from this test case. Then it will have all this information, the screencast and every information. It is very easy. You can report the issue to your linked or integrated the other third-party system. Then rename, share, delete options are there. So here if you come, so under all commands you will see the test steps, all the steps which was execute. So here you can see 8 steps were execute, and at this particular step it failed because this particular element was not found. So here if you click on that, you will see the extra information like 404 no such element. Then the screenshot is there. So here, then from here also, now if you need, you can raise a bug. So here if you raise a, there was the option to create the issue, so then it will have all this information like all the steps, or else at the failed step also you can raise the bug, and also you can go to change the view to show table or to show the JSON view. Element could not be located, and here you will see what was the request sent. Those information are available, the payload. So, and also here you will have a screencast of all these particular steps. So if you run, you can see browser launched, and then it went to lambdatest.com, and then so here also you will see step by step it is executed, and here it come to this particular step and it was failed due to locator issue. Okay, so likewise, so those are the those are the information here. And if you go to the next test, the same steps. So here what I have configured is to run the same test on 2 different platforms. Here it was Mac OS, Microsoft Edge. Here it is Windows 10, Google Chrome. So the same test will be run on both these platforms, actual compatibility test, to test the compatibility on the site between different combinations of operating systems, browsers, and screen resolutions likewise. So yeah, so that is the UI part here. Then I will go back. And now let's see how you can actually create a automation test case and configure it to run on the LambdaTest platform. So here also you will see the automation option. I will delete these builds because since I have already run some builds, you will not see this same window. Since if you launch it for the first time, you will see a different window. So since I want to show the same view, I will delete these builds, and let's hope I will also see the same build. Okay, so if you are a first time user, then you will be landed on this particular page. So on the URL also you see the onboarding, where you can learn how you can configure it, and they also have their own demo project. You can go to the demo project, and then the demo builds. Then if you come to the select framework, here it shows like all the available frameworks which supports. Or else if you are migrating from some other tool like Source Labs or browserstack, so then you can select that option, and then it will show, or it will give a step how you can do the easy migration. So if you are like a first time user, you are creating your framework from scratch, so then here are the available frameworks, languages, the supported ones from LambdaTest. You can see like almost all the popular ones are supported. So I will create this using TestNG Java. So I will select TestNG. Then here it gives all the steps how you can clone the sample project, then how you need to set up these credentials. So as I mentioned, here you can get your username and access key. Those things you can export to have as environment variables on your system, or else here you can configure those in your test cases as you wish. Then here you can select this information like what browser. Let's say I will run on Chrome 130. one. Then what is your build name? Let's say my build, I will set as first build. Then you can see here how that options were added, like my build is first build. Those anything if you type here, those information will be added to these capabilities. So then you can just need to copy paste it to your code base. Then what is your project name? Let's say automation project. So here now you will see it added as the key value combination was added. Then other than that, advanced, if you want to have a build tag, then test name, first test. Then if you need to take screenshots, so here you will see the line number 7 was added, visual. Then it was set as true. That means it will take screenshots when failure. So this one is for every command. If you want to take screenshot at every command, then you need to set this. If you think only failures are enough, then you can untick. If you want to record the video, so here you will see video set to true. And then if you want to enable the tunnel, you can see tunnel is set to true. Likewise, you can play with these settings. Then you can select the console, whether you need to enable the console, whether then error only, then only warnings. Likewise, you can set here console error. Likewise, it will be configured. Okay, I will remove that. Then the simulated network, let's say network throttling, good 3G. Likewise, those also will be set. You can play with those as well. Then the geolocation you can set here. Geolocation was set to the particular configuration which I set. Then the time zone, you can set time zone to. Likewise, you can play with these different available configuration options. So all these were available when you do the manual testing. So all the same things you can apply for the automation as well. Here you need to set these capabilities only. Okay, then you can copy these capabilities and then add into XML file, and here is the command how you can run it. Then I will go to onboarding back, and then if you have your own test suite, then you can configure it as well. So previous one for the demo project, you can clone it and play with that. And if you are, let's this time go with Java. And here Java, Selenium, sample, JIT also there. So, and then if you want to know how you can set up this with CI/CD, all these documentations are available. And then if you want to see some more examples, then you can go to GitHub LambdaTest. So then here you will see all these available example codes for almost all the frameworks languages are available. So here you can see how you can do all these configurations and how you can play with these. Okay, then let's go to our, so I created a sample project and I will share the GitHub link as well. I didn't go with all these best practices of page object model, just create a simple test case, and I just wanted to show you like how you can do this integration. So here a small test is they are using Selenium, Java, Selenium and TestNG I have used here. So here I will launch the browser and go to the LambdaTest site, and then I get the window handles. Here I have configured a wait, and then I'm waiting here for this particular element to be visible. Then again find by element another element, then then I will switch, and then I make a assertion, simple assertion, and that's it. And I have used the TestNG assertions at test, since this is my test. Then I have the before test part and the after test part. So here instead of having the Chrome options, I have used the desired capabilities class to make my object. So using desired capabilities, I have set the capability, the platform, browser name, and the browser version. So I will run this on Windows 10. Browser is Chrome and the browser version is 127. And as same as on the UI user, I am creating the map here. So I'm putting the other capabilities. So I configure my user and the access key I have given, then the build and the name for the build and the test name. Then again the platform here, this is actually not needed here because we gave the platform here as well. Then the Selenium version, and I have set these capabilities and I have inject those to my desired capabilities and my driver. So here in Selenium, how you create your remote web driver. So here for the remote web driver, when passing the new URL, I'm passing my hub URL. So this is my hub URL, which you can copy from the access key option here. If you go here, this is the option, the hub. So this is the URL. So this particular hub URL will have your username and your access key both. So you can copy paste that hub URL from there. And then you need to pass that hub URL for your remote WebDriver, because you will not run this locally. Your test will be run on this particular hub URL, and then you will pass all these capabilities you set. I hope that part is clear to you guys. So the only difference when you run locally versus you run on the LambdaTest platform is this: you pass a new URL. Otherwise, you will have only the new remote WebDriver, the local WebDriver. But here I passed my hub URL to run the tests there. Then at the after test normal, I will quick my driver, but here you will see something different. I have created a variable called status. Then after the test is completed, I am setting my status as passed. When I am quicking my WebDriver also, you can see I am executing a JavaScript LambdaTest status to the final variable, whether passed or failed. The particular key value pair I am setting. This is like we pass this to LambdaTest side, so then they know that my test has completed. Okay, first I will run the same test and show you how you can view now this on the LambdaTest side. So you can run this from the test ng annotation. So I will run my test now, and then let's wait till build complete. Okay, started. Now I will go to the LambdaTest UI. So I will go back to home. On home now, so automation, now you see one is running a web automation. I will go inside that. Okay, now my build Selenium 4, here the information I gave here, my build name is Selenium 4. Okay, I will go inside that. Then my test name is sample test 1. I gave the name here, sample test 1. Then I wanted to run it on Windows 10 Chrome 127. Okay, Windows 10 Chrome 127, and test completed because it failed at this particular element locator. That's why the issue was on the test. I wanted to make a fail test, so I can show that. Then you can see that JavaScript part was executed, even though, okay, now you will see LambdaTest status, it came as failed because it failed at this particular element, and we started with the status as failed. The test actually failed at this particular step. Then after that we are setting status as passed, so it didn't come to here because the test failed here. So the status variable have the failed value. Then here we pass as LambdaTest status as failed. So when we pass as failed, now the LambdaTest is know when this particular key value pair come. Now LambdaTest knows this, the test is finished. Otherwise, it don't know whether test has finished or still it is in progress. So that's why we pass that variable. So I will show you again without having this variable. So I will comment here, and I will comment here as well. Now, since we don't pass this LambdaTest status, when the test is running, LambdaTest has no idea whether the test has finished or not at the end. Okay, I will do a rerun. Okay, now you can see the test is now running. Here, since it is the same build, same test, so it uses the same build information. And for today, here now you can see the test finished, and now this time it marked as completed, not the pass failed status. Even though that step failed here, now it shows as only completed, it didn't show as failed. So that's why we can pass this information. So then it's for the reporting purposes only here. So now you might have a problem. Okay, then now I run this for Windows 10 Chrome 127. I had to add all this. Then if you want to, let's say, run the same test in multiple platforms, like this I ran on Windows 10, then the same test if I need to run on Safari, how you can do? Do you need to create another set of capabilities and put, or else how you can achieve that? No. This is like I showed you how you can run on a single platform. This is how you can integrate with your tests. For a single platform, you need to have the driver, and then you pass the driver to the hub URL. For the driver, you inject all these capabilities. Then if you want to run the same test on multiple platforms, that you can achieve using testng as well. You can create the testng XML file. So the testng XML file, you can create the suite and then you can configure multiple tests. If you need, you can have different tests. But in my case, I am running the same test case called this multiple combination test. So here the same test, the same steps, nothing different. So here the single combination test, this @test method, the same test method I extracted here out and put here as @test. So the same steps are there, nothing different. So now again the difference is at the before method and the after method. So the @test method is the same, similar. Okay. So the multiple combination test, I configured the same test to run twice. The difference is like where it will run environment, Chrome and Edge. So these environment and other configurations I have configured in this particular file, which I am injecting to my testng XML as the config file where parallel.conf.json. So I have added it under resources conf package called parallel.conf.json. So here I have created this JSON structure where first I am passing the hub URL, then the user and the key. So again, these are same like the single combination test. Here we pass those things like this way. But here now I'm passing inside the JSON structure. So these are like different methods how you can play with these configurations. I wanted to show all these different methods. That's why I use two different approaches for the two different cases. So same server, user key, same information like here. Those things are there. And the capabilities. The capabilities means these particular capability options. The build name, platform, those information again. This time build name. Here visual and video. If you can remember, this will take a screenshot at all the test steps. Then it will do a recording. Then network console is enabled and Selenium version is 4. Then Java Selenite plugin is also added, those capabilities. And so these are general for all the tests. And then you can configure different environments. So this is the combinations. Different OS browser version combinations. You can create it inside the environment object. You can have different names for your different environments. I use the same browser names. Chrome. Then what are the values? Platform, browser name and version. Windows 10, Chrome 86 version, Mac OS Edge 87 version. So these are my two environments. So these environment names I have here configured as the parameter name, environment and value Chrome. So that means first time the test will run on Chrome environment. That means this particular combination, Windows 10, Chrome 86 version. Then again the same test will be run on environment Edge. That means Edge, Mac OS Edge 87 version. So the same test now will be run on two different environments, means two different OS browser combinations. So an actual compatibility test. So that is how you can achieve it using this parallel conf JSON and using your testng XML. Then if you check on the setup, how you do this. So okay, I have the same status, those information again. Then what I do is like I read this particular conf file and then I will. So yeah, here you will see I created a JSON parser to read my JSON document and I pass my configuration file. From that configuration file, I will get the environments object and I create this my JSON object called environments. Then again, I created this desired capability. So here in the single test, I create the desired capabilities and one by one I gave all the capabilities. Since now these things are inside my configuration file, I need to read the configuration file and put it into a JSON object. And then from the JSON object, I iterate it through one by one and put into the hash map, put it to the map or the hash map as you need. So it's the same thing, only the approach was different. Then, so I put these to the map and then again, here again a map has been created, the capabilities part and the environments part too. Then again, I will put the remote web driver and pass the URL string config get server. Here config.get.server. That means here this hub URL. Here I just configured the hub URL as a parameter. Here I am getting it from my JSON object. So there's nothing different. The only difference is like how you read the information. Here I directly hard coded the values and here I am getting those things from a JSON file. Other than that, everything is same. The same after method is here. At the end, I'm passing this lambda status key value pair, and I'm quick my driver. So as you see, nothing is different. Only thing is like how you read the data, and then how you create this test.ng XML file, and you use these environment variables to configure multiple tests. Then now let's run this particular one. So I will go to test.ng XML, and from here I will run my test. Now let's go back here. I will go back to my automation. Okay, now we started the LambdaTest sample run build. So here, if you can remember, I gave my build name. So I will go inside, and it is started my first test. First, the test name was configured here, multiple combination test. So now you will see first one, it will run on Windows 10, Chrome 86 version. Okay, it shows the steps. Okay, then the second test started. Now this time it will run on Mac OS Edge 87 version. So the same test will be running on two different combinations of OS browser versions. So this is a real compatibility testing example, how you can do that. Okay, other than that, now you can see the steps, all these things are there. Okay, so here I forgot to show the other available options here last time. So let's walk through those. So here are the steps. Then if you go to logs, you can see the Selenium logs, how you can retrieve the Selenium logs via the API. You can download those, or else you can here read all the Selenium logs. Then if you want to check the console logs, the terminal logs, the device logs, all those things are there. Then you can go to network. Here you can see the network traces, all JavaScript, CSS. Likewise, you can filter it, and also you can download it. Same, anything you can do at your local, you can do here as well. Then if you want to see all the metadata information like the user and the other set information, country, region, those capabilities set, then other input configurations, the media, all those information, the recorded file you can download. Then the Smart UI option. This is another separate feature on the LambdaTest. Currently, Smart UI was not configured, but if you have configured, then you can go and see this particular features as well. Here, what it does is like it will compare two snapshots of UI. So in that case, no need to have these assertions. It will do a visual comparison. For example, here also in the screenshot, it shows the old UI here. It had a button here. On the new UI, button is missing. So this is the baseline version. This is the one after the test is run. So then it will compare these two versions, and it will show the differences. Here shipment 1, shipment 2, that difference. Here the button is missing, that difference. All these difference will be shown on an image. So it is very easy to do a visual comparison and identify the bugs. No need to go write like assertions for all the elements to identify. Simply using a visual UI comparison, you can detect any changes on the UI. So that is the Smart UI part. I will talk this later in a separate video. So yeah, so those are the things related to the automation part. Same app automation also you can achieve. Same way, you can go and here see all these configurations and how you can set the capabilities. Again, say how to set the desired capabilities for your Appium test and how you can run a sample test. All the information are here. There is nothing different, almost same. Only the framework language, those information will be changed based on your desired selected test. Okay, so that's about the automation part. And then related to the automation, there is another one called the HyperExecute. So this HyperExecute is like you can use LambdaTests, another infrastructure to fasten your test time. So yeah, here skip. So here you can, for HyperExecute also, there's nothing much. You can add a YAML file, and the YAML file have all the configurations to run your test inside the HyperExecute platform. So then it will be faster. But again, you need to remember it will be a limited time period based on your license. For my license, I have only 69k minutes remaining. Then you can upgrade if you need. Like these limitations are applied based on your license. So then you can see documentation, and on GitHub LambdaTest you can see some sample code base as well, where how you can integrate your existing framework to run on the LambdaTest HyperExecute platform. So only difference is like this is more fast. The execution time will be reduced. So that's it about the LambdaTest automation part as well. So we did 2 videos last week and today to cover the compatibility testing on LambdaTest. But other than that, as you can see, there are so many other features available on a LambdaTest platform. These things I will discuss in a separate playlist called LambdaTest. Then I will walk you through on the remaining features as well, like the KMAI, then the Smart UI, Test Manager, and accessibility and insight, those features as well. So as I mentioned, like now LambdaTest is going to build their own ecosystem supporting all the QE related features. So it's very easy now. You can achieve everything on cloud on single platform. So yeah, so for today I will stop from here since we covered all the things related to the compatibility testing. Last week we show how you can do manual compatibility testing, and today we show how you can do automation compatibility testing on LambdaTest platform. So I will stop from here. For the next week, I will select another tool based on the availability of the licenses. Hope so I will be able to get another license, maybe for the browserstack platform. Then we can see how you can achieve the same thing, manual testing and automation testing on browserstack platform as well. So see you till next week and stay tuned for the next video on the QE Pro. See you. Thank you. Bye.